Let it sink in. I, who volunteered to inform the US government about potential security breach and about compromising information about a man vying to be the next president, am now being hunted by the very same people whom I informed and may have to live on the run for the rest of my life.
Joining me now, Brianna Lyman, reporter, great reporter for the Daily Caller. Okay, Brianna, I've seen the charges now. Of course, they charge the guy with everything underneath the sun. Maybe it's real, maybe he's dirty, maybe he's not, but I don't believe any of these people anymore. I've been lied to too many times. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. The Department of Justice, they suddenly have the motivation to prosecute people under FARA violations. But let's not forget that Hunter, James, Sarah Biden were all, foreign agents, at least according to the double standard we have here, of CEFC China Energy, right? If you go back to, for instance, 2017, that's the infamous text message that Hunter Biden sent to a CEFC executive saying, I'm sitting here with my father, we're waiting on a phone call. 10 days later, $5.1 million is wired into bank accounts related to the Biden family. Hunter Biden gets a 3.1 carat diamond estimated to be worth about $80,000 from a CEFC executive. This is not the only instance in which, Hunter Biden was essentially working with this Chinese organization, and he's not listed as a foreign agent. So, you talk about the fact that even if Gal Luft is guilty, does it really matter if there's not a fair application of the law to other people?
Brianna, is the population as a whole, I'm not worried about people like you, obviously, but the population as a whole, are they starting to realize just how evil and corrupt this government is, that they shouldn't trust any of these people? Or are these people all just normie norms and they're a million years behind us?
Unfortunately, I don't think enough people are not trusting the government. Those on the right obviously have had the certain disdain for government overreach that we've seen from, when people are getting investigated by the FBI at school board meetings or because they question lockdowns, right? We have been kind of keenly aware since 2020 of this weaponized Department of Justice. But those on the left, they see this as justice being carried out. And instead, if you point to things like what I just mentioned with Hunter Biden and other Biden family members, they will tell you that that is just a right-wing conspiracy theory. So their method of doing this is anything Republicans say, conspiracy theory.
Speaking of Biden, tell me about this Missouri versus Biden thing. This thing looks like it's going in our favor, no?
Oh, absolutely. Good job on the judge for standing up to the Biden administration. They come out to appeal this decision. And I do think it speaks to the larger point here in that, this order, it focused on protected free speech, but there were still exceptions carved out so that the government can, continue on their merry way with some censorship issues here. But the Biden administration, especially Joe Biden, on the day he was sworn into office, he promised on the Bible to protect the Constitution, which includes the First Amendment. And what did this man do? What did his administration do? They worked to stifle conservatives. And James Madison said in 1791, he said, public opinion sets bounds to every government. There was no public opinion allowed in the last 2.5 years. And as a result of that, you saw vaccine mandates, you saw lockdowns, you saw people who questioned whether the virus escaped from a lab were labeled as, right-wing nut jobs. And so when you don't have public opinion and sentiment being able to, be freely expressed on Twitter, on Facebook because of the government is only allowing those who speak in their favor to speak out. And these are the types of consequences that we have to see.
You just did a piece about Joe Biden. I saw Axios ran a story about Joe Biden dropping F-bombs on staffers, and you did a good piece on it. I don't know why anyone's surprised by this, just because the media tried to sell him as some old man with a little bit of a stutter. The guy's been a jerk around. This has been well known in D.C. circles forever. Joe Biden's a jerk.
Yeah, and on Joe Biden's first day, he told all of his appointees, he said, listen, no ifs, ands, or buts. If you have no decency and no respect for your colleagues, you're going to be fired on the spot. And here you have these allegations coming from former and current staffers that Biden is showing no decency and no respect for his staffers. Although I will say this one thing, Jesse, part of me wonders, was this a leak so that people believe, you know what, Joe Biden really does have a backbone behind the scenes and he's not some meek, quiet guy who's possibly suffering from dementia?
I want to switch gears here finally and go to Tommy Tuberville, because this clip from CNN has been making the rounds. And I'm telling you, sometimes, Brianna, Republicans make me want to choke somebody. Here he was.
You agree that white nationalists should not be serving in the U.S. military. Is that what you're saying?
If people think that a white nationalist is a racist, I agree with that. I agree they
A white
shouldn't.
nationalist is someone who believes that the white race is superior to other races.
Well, that's some people's opinion, and I don't think.
That's
I mean,
not
a lot.
opinion.
Pardon?
What's your opinion?
My opinion of a white nationalist, if somebody wants to call him white nationalist, to me is an American. It's an American. Now, if that white nationalist is a racist, I'm totally against anything that they want to do because I am 110% against racism.
Brianna, it's the year 2023, and we still have Republicans going on television speaking out against white supremacy and white nationalism, as if this is the time where it's finally going to get through to that journalist that we're really against them. When are we going to learn to stop playing these games? It drives me insane.
Yeah, I think this is an instance in which staffers for the senator perhaps didn't do a good job coaching him enough, because if you listen to that last portion of the clip you just played, he said, if the white nationalist is racist, I disavow them essentially. I think he was conflating being a nationalist who happens to be white versus being a white nationalist, which are two entirely different things. And, I feel like Caitlin Collins kind of ignored that. He clearly, that is a very obvious thing, especially going off of what he just said. I do think he should have just simply said, though, I'm not going to play into this race baiting argument. If you need me to explain that I'm anti-racist, then you're not a real journalist, because it doesn't take, 1,000 brain cells to put together that he's clearly not a racist.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. She gets it. Senator, maybe give Brianna a call. Thank you so much, Brianna.
Yeah.
Come back soon. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are you tired of watching your beloved nation fall prey to the insidious grip of communism? The Anti-Communist Manifesto by Jesse Kelly is the ultimate guide to fighting back against this destructive force. Discover the shocking truth about communism infiltrating our education system, corporations, and even environmental movements. Unmask the true agenda behind groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and learn how to protect the United States from the most malicious enemy. With extensive documentation of past atrocities, you'll see the undeniable danger posed by this ideology. Arm yourself with knowledge and join the fight to preserve the American way of life. The Anti-Communist Manifesto, a new must-read book from Jesse Kelly. Get your copy today at jessekellybook.com or wherever books are sold.